All right, recapping the short. Today's April 23rd. This one pretty much ticked every box you'd want it to, more or less, in regards to execution, positioning and order flow, location confluence, all that kind of stuff. So ultimately, we capped this gray box is an older 4-day composite. Ultimately, capped there. I took a short there. We put it in this low passive passive bid stepped in here. Ultimately, we did bounce here. Um, but being that we did bounce here and we front ran the single print of the gap as well as weekly view up to that point, that also makes this more of a target for me personally. That's the way I was looking at it. When it came to actual confluence, we have the 4-day point of control. So this older 4-day composite, the POC is there. So essentially it's an undersided retest of that level. And we have what's going to be a 2-day composite. So it's currently developing. If I reset this, if I can anyway. Holy, what am I grabbing here? If I reset it, this was yesterday, and then today obviously is still overlapping as it continues to develop, but nonetheless, 2 days of value. So essentially, we built up value, traded into val, retested. We had an aggressive move back up. It was also a golden pocket back test there, right? So really easy fib confluence to work with as well. And ultimately, it took out these highs here. Took out these highs into this imbalance, undersided retest of the 4-day point of control. It's also essentially a rotation back into a weekly value area high. All right, so we were imbalanced up, shifted back inside. This was a retest I think I took initially on the first short, maybe? Was that it? Oh, no, sorry, this was way up here. But disregarding, we shifted back into weekly value, right? Put in this low, and then we get another rotation up, another aggressive spike into weekly value area high, and then ultimately we traded down and tagged VWAP there. So as for positioning and whatnot, it was at the standard deviation 2 on DVA, and we had a lot of, I think it was a big squeeze here. So I don't know, I guess according to positioning here, it was, what do we get here? I mean, both really. We trapped buyers here, and we ended up squeezing a lot of shorts here, right? So you can see the uptick there in open interest, right? And then the following candle, you can see long start to close. And then ultimately, this kind of chop throat here, buyers kind of continue to try and push higher, right? You can see open interest continues to climb, positive delta, and then ultimately it led to this flip in the histogram where we started to flush those longs, right? So ultimately started to flip here, and then you can see open interest just continues to puke lower. I think I might even be easier seen on the 2-minute time frame. That's one thing I do sometimes is I bounce to the 2-minute as well. I think the 1 minute's just noise, but the 2 minute sometimes gives better clarity. So I just kind of bounce between them when using this template. But nonetheless, yeah, trap buyers up here at the standard deviation 2. Right, you can see that with the market order bubbles here, a ton of delta up here. And then ultimately, yeah, just continued to climb. So you can see a bit better here, right? Open interest continues to climb. Majority of this is positive delta. And then ultimately we break down. And upon this move down, right, open interest starts to climb a little bit more, and we start to flip the histogram into to the negatives. So ultimately, overall good trade. I trimmed some at daily VWAP upon this flush here, and then trim the rest just at val. And just off a bounce off val in case we wanted to front run these lows once more. I wanted to secure that profit intraday. So overall, really good trade.